Welcome everybody to our first CPUG meeting of 2023. We're really excited to have y'all. We're gonna have some good speaker content in a moment, but really quickly, I'm just gonna do our group intro. So for folks who are new, which by the way, if this is anyone's first session, we'd love to see you drop something in the chat. We're a group of Power BI enthusiasts with a West Side focus. Of course, that no longer applies, seeing as we're in a virtual space. So we're really happy to welcome people from all over the place. And our goal is really just to, share knowledge and solutions and learn from one another and really help this community thrive. So if you're willing, we'd love to see your faces on camera, but just a reminder for everybody to, be respectful of one another, be patient, and be welcoming. And finally, if you have any interest in getting involved, we are very happy to hear any feedback that you have. We have the meetup page where you can post feedback there. If you're interested in becoming a speaker or you have any suggestions in that regard, you can reach out to myself or Russ, Andrew, Wesley, or Gaston on the call, and we'd all be happy to get folks. And Chris will relay it back to us. Yeah, but any of them will be happy to help raise any feedback or suggestions you have. I've also created a survey link for anonymous feedback. Maybe if you got some constructive criticism for us, which we'll have open year round. So anytime you have an idea, or maybe if you're just a little shy about sharing, you're welcome to share there. So I'll drop the link for that as well. And now I'm going to pass it over to Wesley to introduce our speaker.
Darn it! I was typing in chat, and I was just letting people know that we got T-shirts as potential bribery in case you want to participate and do things. Okay, so terribly hidden secret. If you've been here for the last 5 or 10 minutes or so, but calling all the way from Brown Deer, Wisconsin, we have Chris Wagner today, who is, all right, Chris, make sure I don't get any of these wrong, the Director of Data Solutions at Baker Tilly, Principal Data Insights and Analytics Solution Architect at Kratos BI LLC, which did you just leave off founder? Was that?
Yeah, just sure, founder, the whole,
Principal? You're just gonna put you don't want to put like CEO, major boss, like it? No, nothing.
When you call yourself a data god, you have to find some ways to be humble, right? Like
cool. Cool. Okay.
The smallest ways, right?
And that's things. A data god, a rebel Power BI boss, which I love, a white rabbit, and most importantly, CPUG's first returning solo speaker. First time.
Wow.
That's right.
Well, thank you all so very much for having me. This is a topic I love more than, well, like there's God, there's my wife, and then there's Power BI. So I absolutely love talking about this stuff. This is what I spend all of my days and time in my life doing. So if you don't mind, we're just going to jump right into this stuff. All right. So can you see my screen? I think you can see my screen. All right. We're going to be talking about the Data God Report Design Guide. This is my slide. We kind of talked about who I am. Where might you have seen me if you haven't been on this? This week, I had a video published on Lucid Charts. Go check it out if you're not familiar with Lucid Charts. It's amazing. I did a video on OnObject that was released out there. It's an incredible exploratory experience. You should check it out. I also had Rosie on my Wednesday Lunch and Learned. It's noon on Wednesdays. It's fantastic. She went deep into all the capabilities of what's in OnObject reporting and what's coming in OnObject. It was amazing. It was fantastic. You should check it out. Where did my mouse go? Oh, it's going to be interesting. I'm here right now. I'll be at the Washington, D.C. Power BI user group doing this same presentation. So if I go too fast or I skip something, please head on over there. And tomorrow I'm recording for a session with raw data. So look for this in the upcoming weeks and months when that actually gets edited and all that good stuff. But that's who I am. That's where we're going. We're talking Power BI report design. And what's the first thing we care about in Power BI report design? why the heck are we doing this report? Why? What is the purpose? What problem are we trying to solve? If you cannot clearly articulate that, if you clearly cannot come up with why you're creating a Power BI report, stop. Stop what you're doing. Don't just create a Power BI report for fun and giggles. Start outside of Power BI and define what business purpose it is that you're trying to accomplish and get done, okay? So make sure that that's very clear as to what's going on and that you have common buy-in and understanding as to why this is even being out there. Power BI is super fun to use, and it's really easy to build stuff in. That's not the hard part. It's what business problems are we trying to solve and what are we trying to achieve with that, right? You need to focus on those results. And I guarantee you, your business partners and the people you're working with are going to really appreciate that focus and attention on what it is you're trying to do, not just all these awesome bells and whistles that you're going to add in. Okay. So start here. Always start with why. Okay. In this instance, as we start to go through this Power BI report design, we're going to be going over a real world situation of a why that was clearly articulated by executives. And we went through a whole session on this and they lined it up. It's got to look great. They're going to be using this with their C-suites, with their executives. So they want it to look fantastic. Okay. So not just like wishy-washy, it's got to look great. You also want to make sure that they're starting to take advantage of all the new features of functionality that's inside of Power BI to start to extend and grow their ability to work with analytics. Most people who aren't in our space, a bar chart is all they care about, right? That's fine, right? They look at bar charts. Maybe they look at a line chart or two. They love themselves a pie chart. They don't know why that doesn't work, right? They don't know any of these things, right? So they wanted to extend and educate their organization while this is going on so that they can grow the knowledge inside their company. While that's all going on, they still needed this to be able to export that data because, some people just have to have that export. And that still needed to be something that was part of this, but they didn't want to undermine one or two while allowing to export, okay? And then here's the big kicker. Had to be all in one page, can't be on multiple pages, can't do anything else because they're going to put this on a big screen. And they want everyone to see this as they come into their business every single day. They want those KPIs that are driving their business to be front and center as people walk in, and they want everyone to be aware of what's going on inside their business because they believe transparency is, sunlight is the best. Oh, crap. I forget what it is, but you know what I'm saying, right? They want it to look great. So, okay, crap. How do we get started on something like this? First thing we do is we make sure we've got a good space to work on, okay? The palette that we're working on is incredibly important. And this is where we're going to flip over to our next tool is we're going to use outside images and content to help enhance our reporting experience, okay? We need to make sure that whatever we're choosing has a good range of colors in it because they had asked for a bright range of colors. Maybe I didn't cover that. But they also, and maybe I didn't cover this, surprise, it needs to be dark. It can't be a light, can't be big white things, right? They want it to be a dark theme. So, okay, how are we going to come up with a good palette for them to work on to incorporate this in? We're going to turn to nature, okay? So I'm going to pexels.com or Pexels, PEXELS.com. Good royalty-free source for images. You can go out here. So I just went out here. I went night sky. And what I was looking for when it comes to working with my images is I wanted to identify a great visual that I could create a stunning range of colors from, yet also be able to find a clear palette that I could work in so that my visual wasn't distracting from the analytics that I was looking at. So I began searching through all the images that were out there. And now it's not where it was. Love these searches. There we go. Here's one. I absolutely fell in love with this image. The reason I really like this image, a couple of things. I loved that it had a whole bunch of different colors in it. And more importantly, it had a break line with the shoreline. So I could use this image to do some incredible things. So I'm going to download this image, and then I'm going to hop over to my favorite tool out there and called PowerPoint. Okay. So I'm going to run into PowerPoint. I'm going to change my design, and I'm going to choose my slide size. What I want to do is I want to pivot this because I knew I wanted to be long and tall. That was the request that was coming out. So all I need to do is pivot this into a landscape view. Oh, now you're going to go slow for some reason. Why? PowerPoint doesn't like changing slide size? Is that a thing? There we go, widescreen. But I want to do landscape. So I want to set this up as landscape. No, wait. No, portrait. 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 Okay.
Chris, it may be because you have Teams open.
Maximize my size. So now I have my palette that I can work from. Okay. This gives me a good range of space that I'm going to be able to add into. Now I'm going to cheat a little bit because we don't have a ton of time, and I'm going to skip to the next step. And I'm going to bring in the image. Okay. So I've got my image all together. Now I'm going to do a couple things with this image. I want to first use this line in the image to create a black space for me to be able to work on. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to take that image. I'm going to go into picture format and crop. I'm going to crop that image down to just that mountain line. I'm going to copy and paste it. And I'm going to do a similar crop to get that bottom, right? To get that bottom like edge. So I got a header and I've got a footer. And then I'm going to take this background. I'm going to use actual shape in here. And from the shape, I'm going to actually grab the color. So shape fill, eyedropper, and I'm going to line it up and I'm going to match it from the black that is in the image. Okay. All blacks are not created equal. All colors are not created equal, right? We have to make sure that we get it exactly right. All right. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the actual artistic image or the actual picture that I have, and I'm going to create a color palette for my visuals. Okay. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to set some oranges, some purples, and I'm even going to find some dark grays. Again, I'm going to pull from colors that I can find inside of this image. This ensures, yeah, someone Andre posted a good like stunning design thing. This is nice. Those are the classically like locked in designer approved colors. But this gives you a much more natural, yet almost kind of chaotic yet organic feel to it. Like if you're handcrafting wood, that has a like kind of a more craftsman level appeal. People kind of really like this. I do the same thing when it comes to grabbing these colors, and then I use a white background and change my transparency on those colors, setting the transparency at 25% and 50% with just grabbing the fill functionality here. I'm just going to show you one because again we don't have a ton of time here. Fill, I set my transparency down to 25%. Well, actually, 25. It was from the original one, but now you can actually see it's in the same alignment as the other one. So I set it to that, and then I set it to, you just go in and grab the color here. I'll show you quick how you do this. All right, bring this to the front. I'd set that to 25. Right, then change your format to this. And it's important when you do this to go in and grab these colors and make this, to set these up right. Okay, so that you actually are going to then take these colors and add them into your theme inside of your Power BI desktop file. Okay, so we're going to quick show that, or we're going to go out to that. So we're going to set all that stuff up. We're also going to. We're also going to take these colors And knowing that we want to maintain consistent coloring through our entire experience that we can focus on. In this case, we're going to be focusing on banks. But if you're doing products and you want to make sure that when people were looking at that common product, wherever it was in your dashboard or whatnot, this type of switch statement allows you to really like define on a field or a value in a dimension what colors should go along with this. Okay, so this we'll copy and paste this inside of the chat over here. You guys have that? Oh my gosh, go away. See here, there we are. Okay, so I'm going to define all those things. So not only do I have a good palette, but I've got a good color set to work for. Okay, now let's keep going. All right. Next thing I want to do is I want to make sure that my Power BI palette and environment is all set up, or my Power BI space is set up to do the work. Okay, so I'm going to go into Power BI and I'm going to go in and I'm going to set up my oh crap, here we go. New on object. We're braving it. We are. If you're not familiar with the new on object experience, we're about to go through my first demo with on object enabled. So let's see how we do here. Okay, so we're going to be setting our canvas size, page canvas settings. We're going to be changing this to a custom. And I have a little note on this someplace here because it throws me off. What's the size? Dark node modes. Okay, so I want my height to be, because we know what the dimensions are on the monitor, right? It's going to be a big monitor that's out there. So we go and we find what that's supposed to be. So 1440 by 2560. We set that to, we get that right setting in. Then we want to go in and we want to set that background. So we go to that Power BI slide that we created over here. And this becomes the image that we say. So we select all, right click, save as picture, and we define what this background is going to be for ourselves. So that I can then go in and I can say, all right, actually vertical alignment. Let me set my background and I select it. Click open. Fit. Transparency 0. Ah, what happened? That's not the right one. There we go, dark one. Fit. And 0. Okay, so we get this all in place. This is fantastic. Now, one thing I do also like, or I have found that works really well here, is we do have the ability to change our wallpaper. Now, this image, I really like to take the natural image that I started off with and use this as that background. So without that stretched out background, we're going to add that in. We call it fit. Oh, no, we'll do normal. Or fill. Yeah, fill. There we go. So now we get the same colors that we're going to be drawing from. We get those in that background. So as people work and interact with this report, that this is going to look and feel great. Okay. So we've kind of got that stuff together. We're going to run through and we're going to take all of those colors that we set up. We're going to go into view, customize current theme, and we're going to put those, update theme. Why did those not go in? Oh, actually, we don't even have to do that because I used that switch statement, or because I created that switch statement, I can just go into my model and use that switch statement in here. So this is my bank color name. Bank names color. I've got this right here. I could add this into my visual palette if I want to, but with this information, I don't necessarily need to go in and do all of that. So I can save myself that step, okay? Now, big thing that I want to do here is I want to make sure that I go in on my view and that I switch to fit to width. What that does is it makes sure that as I'm looking at that data, I have just a clean up and down scroll bar. My images and my area that I get to work on goes corner to corner, okay? Now, let's see. The next thing we're going to be doing is we want to create a layout of what we're going to be having and where, okay? So We want to set our order of operations and our precedence on what it is. Remember, keeping on the basics and keeping on why are we looking at this. I really like to start off with the high-level KPIs that ground your users on what the values are that are driving the company at the top. Okay, so that as users go through different experiences and look at different reports, they can start to get used to those KPIs. And those are going to be the first things that not only that I add, but I'm going to take special emphasis on how I manage and work with those KPIs to ensure that they have everything, that they actually have some additional functionality in there that many people aren't doing for some reason, but 100% should be doing. All right. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure I've got a space here for trend information so people can see the directional space that they're heading. And then I'm going to include that whole spot where they're talking about, hey, let's leverage the new capabilities and new analytics capabilities. I want to create an area that we had those available for people so that they could see that stuff and they could use that. But then also a zone where I had filters and where I had details and so that they could go in and do that whole, and it has to be exported as well. Okay. I want to do this layout, and I also spend some time kind of sketching things out so I can understand how I'd want these things to work and operate. But again, we're not super deep on time here, so I'm going to keep going. Please note, if anyone has any questions, ask. I'm here to answer, help you, not necessarily repeat the stuff over and over again. So please ask questions if you have them. Okay. So I've got these things together. Next thing I want to do is I want to go in and add these visuals. Okay. We're going to be using the function to drive our colors, and we're going to use grids to actually bring that data to life. If you're familiar with the rule of thirds, you kind of think of it, imagine a screen, you want to draw kind of thirds around it. That's where everything should be included. Okay. So let's head over and let's start to talk about that. Or let's show you what we would do there. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to do and is I'm going to quick go in and I'm going to cheat a little bit. Well, no, I won't. I'm going to first create all of the KPIs that are important for me. And if you've been, oh man. Oh, actually, this is going to be so much easier now. On object, this is awesome. Can't wait to show this to you. Check this out. Look, reseller sales amount. Boom. Oh, look, I added it and it became a card. It's a card, everyone. Did you see? It's a card. This is amazing.
That's a card.
It's a card. It's not a bar chart. This is so awesome. I don't have to change it. It's a card. Yes.
Looks like Christmas.
Yes, it is. It is like Christmas. Although now I don't remember where to go to format this thing. Oh, there we go. All right. So I need to call it value. I got to change some of the stuff. All right. We're going to change my colors here. Categories, colors, boom, boom, boom. All right. I've got this kind of set up here. I'm going to, oh man, that looked so much easier. This is super important. This is super important. You create these KPIs right now when you're creating these reports. You add them in, you add all of these in, and then you find the workspace that this is going to be published to, and you make sure, God's sure you have the right workspace that this is going to, and that you know the name of the report. Both of those are exorbitantly important. These things need to stay the same. So please, 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 please make sure you figure that out. Oh my gosh, am I going to be able to? Look how easy this is going to be. Oh, how nice is this? This used to be, remember you like had this like drag, drop, swap thing? Look how easy this is. Oh, is Rosie on the call? No, Seattle. No? Is there anything for Microsoft? Oh. We should like pull Rosie into this call. Let her know. Yeah, look at that. It's all done. Like I just did it. I didn't have to do all this dragging and dropping, swapping and changing and drop. That was so easy. Oh, I love this. Oh, gosh, dang it. Where's my little thing here? Ah, love it. Yeah. Oh, there's no, my camera's off. Dang it. Okay. Okay, all right. So first thing, you publish this out into the service in the workspace that's going to need as is. This is all you need to have out there. Okay, you need to get this out in the service because this is what you're going to do. You're going to hop into Power BI at this point in time. This is super important. You're going to head over to where this report is, and you're going to create a scorecard. Okay, you're going to create a scorecard, and you're going to pin all of these KPIs that you have at the top of your visual, and you're going to do this right away. All right, you're going to set that up, and once these are all pinned so that you can get these in place, you're then going to go to your dark scorecard. Here, I can kind of like go in there and see this. You're going to go into the settings here, and super important on this to get this out there right away for people. What the heck? Oh no, the data set.
And Chris, the scorecard's had a couple name changes, right? It was goals, then it was metrics, and now it's scorecard, right? Is that kind of the official?
Correct. So tomorrow when they call it "Who Moved My Cheese" officially, you'll know the name is in flight. So I guess if you buy a company called Goals, you have to change your product that you call Goals. So that makes sense. But actually, I think they're individually still called metrics, but you create a scorecard. It's weird, but
The groups of metrics. Yeah, I think you're right.
yeah. So first thing, go in and schedule the refresh so that it takes a snapshot of this data every single day. Okay, so you create your report. You create your report with your KPIs on it. You publish it. You then go into the service. You create a scorecard based upon these metrics, and then you set up your refreshing right away. And here is why. And this is super important, right? As soon as this then gets published, you can then do this. And we're gonna cheat a little bit. I'm zooming ahead here. I'll show you what you do. You start to add in, and there's a brand new feature. Oh my gosh, I wonder if we can do this. No, that's the wrong way to do it. We do a new visual. Where is it? Metrics. Oh. All right, I've not created metrics like this. Okay, here it is. So you do in metrics, and we're going to do an individual metric like this. And we're going to browse from our metrics. We're going to check our dark scorecard. We're going to say sales amount, and we're going to add this to the report, okay? What this is going to allow you to do is to create this visual that allows your executives and everyone in your organization to not just see the individual KPI, but to track the history of it and be able to see the comments and enter comments based upon what they're seeing in it within that visual report that they have, right? So they could see, oh, hey, on this sales metric, Chris checked in on this 7 months ago. We were on track. Power BI, Luchador, hey, let's take a look on this. I can make a new comment here saying, hey, I want to include a note, say, hey, it's been 7 months. What's the update? And I can change it to say, we're behind. This is not right, right? I can set that up. I can make those changes. And then I can go back to my report. And now my line chart is adjusted. And you can see visually here, there's a new note that's out there. So people who are working in this, that the Power BI Luchador who owns this can see that this comment is in, and this metric is now set to behind, right? And so this is a manual toggle that you can enable it. So it's a manual thing, right? What that allows you to do is have this amazing report that looks incredible, but then through toggling, you can just hide and unhide these KPI visuals, and your executives can now clearly see, this one's behind and there's some communication on it, right? This one's doing fine, nobody's talking, all right. They can actually see this from within this actionable workspace and make this something that they can do something with, right? So super powerful. If you're not using the metrics, You 100% should be, and you should be doing this as quickly as possible. It's just absolutely phenomenal. Okay. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to take that same information here, and we're just, for the purposes of this training, we're going to pretend like that's not here. So we're going to pretend like I've added all of that in. Now, next layer, if we go back to our diagram, what were we talking about? We're going top to bottom. Now we're talking trends, right? So we're going to add in those clearly definable trend lines that we want to have. We've already know that reseller sales amount is the metric that we want to have on, and we want it by year and month. So I'm going to go to my, oh, wait a minute. Let's keep doing my on visual, because I'm learning how to work with on visual right here. So apologies in advance, but I know it's year month. Right, so that's all set up. That's looking pretty good. I want to keep going in here, and I want to add some more details, because I know that under dim reseller, it's the bank name in here that is most important for me. So I'm going to add that in, and I think we still have that, but I want to do more control over this. So I'm going to turn off my suggest type, and I'm going to take my bank name and drop it into the small multiples. Okay. That kind of gives me the room that I want here, but I want to make sure that I can see all of this stuff. This is going to be a display, so I want to minimize the things that people need to scroll in and use. So I'm going to go in, and on my formula bar here, you know what? I want to see my data and my format at the same time, so I'm going to do that. Right click. I don't know if you saw that. I'm going to zoom in. If you have something closed, you can right click on it and say open in a new format bar. I'm going to right click and say, oh, I'm sorry, open a new pane, so I can see my data and I can see my formatting there. So I've got that in place. I've got my small multiples in here. And then I want to do, for my colors, here's where I want to set this up. So I'm going to base it upon a field, or it's a rule that's, oh no, it's a field value. I'm going to base it upon a field that I've defined in my back reseller sales, bank color names. Okay, boom, my colors are all in alignment, so this is good. I'm also going to make sure that my small multiples is rows 2, but I want to have 3 columns. So now I have all of my visuals all in one place. So I've got everything here. Oh, no, I need to have 4 columns in order to get all in. There we go. I'm good to go. So I do want to make sure that I'm taking up as much of the room here while leaving a gutter. I never want to go actually wall to wall, so I want to make sure that I get those in place and give myself a little room here. Now, I would then make sure that I publish this out and that this has a good look feel to it. I'm probably too low on this. A big thing you always want to make sure you're doing with your visuals. Don't do that. And this should become muscle memory. They should have a hotkey for this. I wish they did. They don't. Format, align top, align, distribute horizontally. Always be doing that stuff, okay? Now, the next space we're going to get into, and I don't have a ton of time, I'm going to go over to my finish mode, and I'm going to show this one to you. All right. I want my users to be able to see new ways of looking at that data. Your scatter plot is, or your scatter chart is one of the more advanced ways for looking for outliers in your data that can really help you understand who your heroes and villains are inside of any organizational area that you might want to engage with more or less. Additionally, I want to give some ability for users to be able to slice down and focus in on different people, right? So I created a grouping that was based upon the actual banks that we're looking at, but then also the top resellers that are down below. So we can start to like combo these things together and see where performance is, and then actually track that over time so we can see how that performance of that individual reseller is, okay? I'm going to combine all that stuff together inside of one grouping so that I can easily, inside my format pane, here, let me actually take a look at this. Selections, Come on now. I can see this. Where did it go? Not highlighting it now? I used to highlight it. But I can easily see that this is my outliers. Should be called out here. It's my outliers groups. Oh, here it is. Tops and bottoms, metrics, AIs, bubbleless. Bubbleless? Yeah. Yep, this one. Right. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually create buttons that allow me to slice and dice going across here so that I can create that experience of showcasing the new features and capabilities that are out there. Oh, look, I did need to have my theme applied. That did screw that up. Oh, well, I'll catch that next time. But this creates a situation that allows people to see all the different types of advanced analytics inside of here so they can see the root causes and understand what's driving and making changes inside their business. And I think this is important, is we can actually create some guidance around, I always call it tops and bottoms, but these are the people that need, or these are the people that can do mentoring. These are the people that need mentoring or need help. Okay. So we look for ways to showcase this stuff. But when we do, we want to make sure that we're giving some guidance to people so that they think that not just that these are the heroes and like, oh, these people do no wrong, or that we should fire these bottom people, but it's that these people are the ones who could be buddied up to provide that mentoring and coaching capabilities, right? Now, this is also where I like to bring in and start to use things like ChatGPT, because I am not a guru on providing guidance for mentoring. So I might ask for, please provide 3 sentences on why top performers should help out bottom performers. Right? Oh, come on. I should try Bing, the new Bing. Chat now.
Yeah, on that topic, I totally used ChatGPT to start generating the intro I was going to use for you, Chris. And then
Yeah.
it ended up being, it basically just stole your summary for LinkedIn. That's all it did. And I was like, but that's just cheating.
Yeah.
So I did not use that.
All right. So it gave it to me. So, okay, this is not bad. Top performers, top performance. Lastly, be very exciting. Well, that's just put exclamation points at it.
Got excited.
Yeah.
So got excited about it. It's something.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're still working on the whole thing. But still, this is, this is fairly good. So I'll take and I'll add this in here. Now, this is the type of thing I really like to get from the business partners. Like, why is this type of thing important? This is also a place for adding a visual element, adding in a picture of a leader in this type of a situation, like an executive or your CEO, with like a little speaker bubble saying, hey, this is the coaching and mentoring thing. Please look for the opportunities to do that, right? We want to connect people with data and data to people, right? And you do that through these visual guides, all right? And then the last thing, so we created this out. Now for the display, FYI, we had to like write a little like custom like rotator that like went through these buttons. It was actually kind of fun, but we're not going to get into that. Last but not least, hey, I want to export all of my data out of here. I have to be able to do that. Okay, fine. We'll go ahead and we'll put that in. But that's going to be purposefully, it's going to be way at the bottom to encourage people to engage with all of these other resources and engage with finding out, your outliers and looking at these other ways of performing that analysis before I go right into doing that more detailed look. And then when I provide that, I want to enrich this visual experience to make it so that they want to stay inside of the Power BI space versus just always going in and dropping it into Excel, right? And I do that by adding in those same color concepts, right? So we keep that color scheme together. We keep some bar charts behind our visuals. We don't want to go too crazy with it because it becomes overwhelming and whatnot, but we want to add that in to try and draw them in. And then anything that the users that we visualize here, we want to give them the ability to slice and dice that on top here. So we add in some visual level filters. We would also say, hey, this would be an opportunity where you might want to add in some visuals on the pane here that go to a grain deeper than this or something that is not going to be visualized, okay? Now, when you get this all done, I also like to come up and add in a visual for the smart narrative for the 70% of people who data visuals don't make sense, and where data details don't make sense. Hopefully, the other 70% of people who need something written, this can help highlight that. Fingers crossed, they'll stick Chat GPT or the whole GPT-4, whatever the heck it is, on this soon, and we'll have like an insane analyst pointed at our data. That would be amazing. I can't wait for that. Now, one thing I do like to do in this type of situation is, while they said this is what they want, I think often it's important to show people that, yes, this is what you've asked for, but best practices would dictate that this is not super functional, right? And to give them a demonstration of how this could be used in an executive summary way, but having separate tabs for people to go through and go to have the same navigational experience and work with the stuff in the same way. I showcased this. We hid the other tabs, but then as executives started to work with this, they agreed, it was actually better. This is great for like the overhead overscreen thing. They liked that, but they found out that they were actually using these other tabs all of the time, just because scrolling up and down is a pain in the neck and clicking on buttons takes you to places much faster. So while people ask for things that they don't want or know, this is fantastic. Okay. The other thing I do like to use my scorecards for is data quality, so that as an executive who's looking at content can come in, and if they see something that looks off, they can go in and see, oh, a data quality check there is an issue, but I can also see someone's working on it, and I can go in and see what's going on and who's working on it and what the status is of it. So, all right. Now, I think I made pretty good time. I think I kept it under an hour for the first time ever. Woo! All right. What questions do you guys have here? I went through that super fast. Happy to answer any questions or items that you have here. Oh yeah, the Belinda's right. That scorecard thing is amazing. Still have it? Where'd it go? Ah, where am I? Think. Oh, there's daily news. I don't know if this still works or not. Yeah, this was a huge hit. It was one of the most used dashboards that I had. It was just literally no visuals whatsoever. Just, hey, what's going on inside the business today? And people just ate this up all day long. It was as simple as that.
This kind of reminds me of when they first came out with the automobile and they would put fake horse heads on the front of them in order to have people feel more comfortable with them being on the street. Like it's like, oh, it's a newspaper. Yeah, but it's data.
Right. That's all it
awesome.
is. But like study after study shows, like there's just a percentage of people that could consume data through like analytics
Yeah.
And then there's this huge other group that's out there that it doesn't make sense to them, right? Like they don't, they get thrown by it. They don't like it, right? Like, I mean, how many people like math, right? Like, I mean, I love math. Like the people on this call love math, right? But like math's not a number one topic for a lot of people on the planet. And so they see that, they see data, and they go to math, and it becomes just this big thing. And like, I've been thrown out of meetings like, hey, nerd, go back to the nerdery. And, but when you show them like, hang on, like my nerdery can produce a daily newspaper. Suddenly I'm not a nerd anymore. I'm like I have an idea of what's going on. Right. So
You're a
Well,
journalist.
baby boomers, yeah, journalists. Baby boomers aren't used to looking at data in graphs.
Yeah.
So this is an alternative for them over a table.
Yeah.
And it's not as intimidating, right? I mean,
Right.
like text. I've read before.
Yeah.
I can do that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, honestly, this is
Love
still
it.
using the narrative, smart narrative by Narrative Sciences.
Yeah.
I really hope the Power BI smart narrative gets much better. But it's coming along, and I don't know how long this API will still work, but fingers crossed. It'll still go for a while.
Hey, Chris, have you found a good guide anywhere for editing the smart narrative and customizing it? Like, I always struggle when I get in there and start messing around. It seems to mess up my formatting, and
100%. One of the things that I have found most useful for this, and I do not know how this works, so I don't know any of the like secrets behind this, but it seems to work best with like trend lines and stuff like that, is I will create a page, lay out the trend lines and the measures and all of the things that I would like my smart narrative to write on. I would then create a smart narrative on that page and then copy and paste that smart narrative to someplace else. Whatever DAX statements are then that smart narrative have extracted from that page will get carried with that narrative visual wherever it goes, and you can use it there. So I cheat by not trying to edit and play with this, but more so to make it self-generate the type of story I want it to say. That makes sense?
love that. Thank you. No, very helpful. Appreciate it.
Yeah. I mean, if you talk to Microsoft, like I've seen people do it. They seem like they know what they're doing, and it seems like it works. I've struggled with it. Awesome. All right. Did I hit on everything? Colors, metrics. Yep. Oh, help button. Information button up at the top. Look. Provide business context for all the visuals that you have on the screen, what they should be doing, what they shouldn't be doing. Get this information from people in the business to, so that they have that guide and that execution around this stuff. I've told the story before. Like one of the first reports I ever did was like someone asked me for a report on this type of like transactional behavior. I generated it, gave it to someone. I saw the guy a month later. I'm like, how'd the report work out? He said, great. I fired everyone on that report. Thank you. I'm like, oh, what? And like he thought they were stealing, and maybe they were, I don't know, but like I felt bad because we didn't necessarily get all the business context up front, and you should have, not only should you have the business context of what should be done with it, but the people who consume the information should have the business context as well. So
Make sure your doors are locked at night. There's a lot of employees not happy with you.
right, I am aware. They're multiple states away though, so and I don't think they knew I was the cause of it, right? Like I didn't even know I was the cause of it until after it happened. But all right, and then I was there. Details.
You did have a
yeah.
question. You did have a question from somebody about making reports for colorblind.
Oh,
Can't remember what exactly the question was, but
Yeah, it's from Roger. And you hit on it. Yeah, it was, have you done any cool ideas for colorblind friendly dashboards?
yeah. Honestly, I think I would turn out if I was going to do this. There's a whole bunch of like visual sites out there to help with it. I would look there, or I would start with the actual accessible themes that are available here, and then I would go from this color palette to, and then go from there, right? I'd start with these colors, and then and then look for images or how I could take from there and leverage that, right? I think kind of two different purposes, right? Like this type of thing I consider almost marketing, right? Like this is a marketing puff piece at this point. Far less of a practical, this is what people do on a day-to-day basis, right? To me, at any rate. We are nearly at time, and I know a lot of people have to go. I know I have to get out of here. You can find me on my YouTube channel. Next week I'm meeting with Andy Cutler. We got Snaps and Power BI. We're going to be doing that at our Lunch and Learn, noon Central Standard Time. And then this is my first time announcing it. I just got done interviewing Amir Nutz. The interview has been through legal. It has been through visual. It has been through sound. It has been through all of that stuff. We are putting the final touches on this. So this is going to be going live at some point very, very, very soon. And me and Amir, we talk in depth about what is about to happen to our jobs. What does it mean to work in data in the future with ChatGPT, with the changes in the cloud tools that are out there? What does this mean for us? And it's very important for me. Like this is my job, right? Like what is it going to be for us? So very excited to share that with everyone. So please keep an eye on my YouTube channel, like, subscribe, all that whole good stuff. And so you can follow up with it. I do not know if Satya approved it or not. That is, I don't know. Lawyers got involved, but like not. And then if you want to see this presentation again, where I go rapid fire through this and probably have completely different jokes because I don't remember anything that we talked about that was on one of the slides. So, it could be completely different presentation. Do tune in like 2 hours or 3 hours or whatever it is, and we'll be going live. Oh, 2 hours. In 2 hours, I'm going live with this again. So see you there. All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Chris.
Yeah,
Thanks, Chris.
Thanks so much, Chris.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.